Well, we're launching another product. This is Raspberry Pi 3B Plus. And this is Roger, who designed it. Roger, what's new with Raspberry Pi 3 Plus?
So quite a lot. I'll start in the center. We've got the same processor as before, but we've got a new package for it, and it allows us to add this heat spreader as well. So that's given us the chance to boost it from 1.2 gigs to 1.4 gigahertz.
This is still 2837, right?
Still 2837, just in a new package to increase power integrity and give us this.
And better thermal performance as well.
In this corner, we've done a lot of connectivity updates. So we've now got 5 gig and 2.4 gig Wi-Fi, Bluetooth 4.2 and Bluetooth LE. We've got a new dual band antenna from the same people who did the one on Zero W.
So previously, Raspberry Pi 3 has a chip antenna along the edge there. And people noticed that Zero W has better Wi-Fi, although it doesn't have a chip antenna, it's got a PCB antenna. So she got generally better Wi-Fi performance than 3.
Yeah, and we took all that learning from Priant and we put it onto this board. So this one's a dual band antenna, so it adds some extra capacitors in there for tuning the cavity, but yeah. Equally good performance, if not better.
Cool. And it's in a metal box?
Yes. So this is mainly around compliance. So the idea is that having the shield around the radio circuitry allows us to call it a module. Mm-hmm. And so the whole board is actually certified as a radio module.
Like one of those little radio modules, except with all of the rest of a Raspberry Pi.
Yeah. So that means that we can say that, that when someone builds a product around Raspberry Pi, they can sort of avoid a lot of this compliance testing because they can take our reports because it's a module and just hand them on, and that's.
Previously, people were having to go back to they were having to do everything from scratch, right? Obviously, people have been using the integrator program. We have the Raspberry Pi integrator program, but people were still having to redo once you add new components to it, having to redo all of their testing. Here, I guess, although it's got a radio on it, you only need to do the non-radio bits. You only need to redo the non-radio bits of the testing, right? The unintentional radiation and the immunity testing. It's a factor of 10, right?
Yeah,
pretty
it's
much
a massive
in terms of cost and effort, it's roughly a factor of 10 saving. So that's kind of fun. That's the wireless end of the connectivity package. What's happened on the wired end, on the other corner of the board?
So we've changed our South Bridge to another product from Microchip, and this has given us much faster Ethernet. So we're seeing 2 to 3 times the previous performance.
We're not using the G word.
We're not, but it's sort of, I would say, pseudo gigabit Ethernet.
It's gigabit Ethernet, so at a physical level it's gigabit Ethernet, but it's still bridged over USB 2. So you're seeing probably a maximum of 250 to 300 megabits on the line.
Which is a great bump from what it was before.
It's really healthy up.
Yeah. You'll notice we've sort of grown an extra header up here. Part of the change for the new Ethernet was that we added in Power Ethernet transformers into here. So these are the taps from this transformer. This will allow you to plug in a hat board that will be launching soon that basically allows you to power your board over Ethernet.
48 volts coming in on the Ethernet cable, comes up through that header onto a hat which regulates it down to 5 volts and then injects it back in through the G-Power connector.
And also adds a fan should you need one.
And we're kind of hoping, I guess, that people are going to for a lot of industrial use cases, maybe some signage use cases, this reduces the amount of, you don't need to have it. You can network boot, and we're much better at network booting. In this version, we've rolled up all of the bug fixes. Gordon's rolled up all the bug fixes from a year or two of Ethernet booting into the boot ROM inside the 2837. So you can stick this at the end of a piece of powered Ethernet, and that's really the only thing you need to run your Pi. It should be good for some of our industrial and signage customers.
Yeah, it goes back to the compliance side of things. We're sort of learning how people are deploying these things and trying to make it better for everyone.
I guess the other thing, it's kind of a neater looking board, right? It's a tidier looking board. Things seem to have changed down in this corner next to the power jack.
Yes, so we've had a custom power supply from MaxLinear designed. So this is a 4 switch mode power supply. So it's I2C controllable and basically sort of hoovers up a lot of the shrapnel on the board of like the discrete LDOs that we had in the past.
So we originally had separate switches. We had a dual switcher for 1v8 and 3v3. We had an I2C, and those were fixed switches. We had an I2C controllable switcher for the core voltage, and which back in the day on Pi 2, of course, was the product that gave us the turn-on death flash. And then we had an LDO for an SDRAM rail, which is now a switcher.
We had 2 LDOs for the SD-RAM. We had an audio LDO.
And lots of that's been sucked into that corner. So this is why it kind of looks tidier. And of course, that's because this switcher has better static regulation accuracy and has a better load step performance. And both of those then turn into those. Those are both contributors along with the changes that have happened in the main chip. Those are things that contribute directly to that 200 megahertz uplift in frequency.
Yeah, and that's all. Yeah, it's all resulted in a much better performance product.
Yeah, no, yeah. I like this board because it's an attention to detail product. It's like the Raspberry Pi 1B, 1B Plus, where we looked at all the things after a couple of years. We looked at all the things that people had done with the 1B and all the things they'd liked about it and all the things they hadn't liked about it. And then James did us a spin that kind of aggregated together fixes, improvements for all of those things. It's the same thing. So this is the same thing done to Raspberry Pi 3. Great little product.
Yeah.
And it's been a long year, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing we noticed is that sort of everything's got a lot more complex, but it's the same sections on the board. It's got the same features. It's just they've all been muchly improved. So it's led to a certain amount of interesting.
We've had a busy year, but I think we're pretty proud of it, right?
Yeah, I'm very proud.
People are going to like it.
Yeah, I think it's an answer to a lot of things that people have been looking for. So.
Yeah, Raspberry Pi 3B Plus.